my own definition of leadership is someone you want to follow. That is as simple as that. And while doing what you are doing, meaning creating safe space, people will follow, people will open to you, people will tell you thousands of things they may not tell to other people.
Welcome to another episode of the Starter Girlz Podcast. I am your host, Jennifer Loehding, and wherever you are tuning in today, we are so glad to have you. All right, so I'm going to open up with this today. Leadership looks different when it's informed by real responsibility. My guest today has spent years leading teams and initiatives in complex, high-pressure environments where clarity, steadiness, and sound judgment matter every day. And so I'm excited to chat with him. You guys are going to get to hear from him in just a few minutes. But before we do that, I do need to do a quick shout out to our sponsor. This episode is brought to you by Walt Mills Productions. Need to add excitement to your YouTube videos or some expert hands for editing? Look no further. Walt Mills is the solution you've been searching for. Walt is not only your go-to guy for spicing up content, he's the force behind a thriving film production company with numerous titles in the pipeline. Always on the lookout for raw talent, Walt is eager to collaborate on film and internet productions. With a background deeply rooted in entertainment and promotion, Walt Mills leverages years of skills to give you the spotlight you deserve. Want to learn more about Walt and his work? Head on over to waltmillsproductions.net and let your content shine. All right. And with that, I do want to make a mention to head on over to startergirlz.com. I say this every single week. Why do I say that? One, because it's a great place to catch up on an episode. If you are missing one or just haven't had time to catch up, they are all there. You can go back and listen to them. You can also sign up for our community newsletter and stay in the know of what is coming out. And then, of course, if you are an entrepreneur or maybe you're aspiring or maybe you're right in the thick of it and you want to know what your number one success block is that may be hindering your success, well, guess what? I have you covered. There is a 2-minute quiz over there that you can take that will tell you what that block is and why it may be impacting your success right now. So head on over to startergirlz.com. And as I always say, do your thing. All right. And with that, my guest today, Patrick Kamba, an executive leader in global project management, with over 20 years of experience leading complex, high-stake programs across industries like pharmaceuticals, steel, automotive, and transportation. He's guided major initiatives in vaccine and biotech programs for companies including GSK, Johnson & Johnson, Mithra, and PPD, helping teams perform under pressure while staying aligned with long-term goals. Patrick's also the author of Quiet Ambition, a book that shares practical strategies for achieving success without ego or burnout, leading with clarity, calm, and authenticity. As a mentor and coach, he's helped more than 60 professionals, many women leaders, grow their influence and leadership presence with integrity. So Patrick, welcome to Starter Girlz Show. I'm so excited to have you here today.
Thank you, Jennifer. Thanks for having me.
This is going to be great. I'm excited to chat. Okay, so tell us, because my listeners are going to be like, where are you at? Where are you calling in from today?
So I'm located in Belgium, so in Europe, very far from you. And it's freezing here.
Is it well, and I'm sitting here, I'm cold right now, so I don't know how cold you are, but I'm like, I got my jacket on back here. So what time is it where you're calling in right now? What time is it where you are?
So it's a bit more than 9 p.m. now.
Okay. So you're in the evening. So it's about 2 right now, 2 in the afternoon here. So
Yes.
it's great. You know, one of the beautiful things about doing what we get to do is we get to talk to people all over the world. And so funny enough, I have a client that I work with that's originally from Russia that lives in Spain. And so every time we try to coordinate, we know our little 5-hour window gap. But I will tell you, every time the time changes, we get messed up. Every single year we get messed up. So it's crazy. So what's the temperature there today where you're at?
So it's around 0 degrees Celsius. So I think it's 40 Fahrenheit, maybe.
Gotcha.
Between 40 and 50.
So we had a that's cool. We had an ice storm came in over the weekend here. And so, I'm in Dallas, which is out down south where it's relatively warm, right? But every year,
Yes.
I feel like we get these little mini ice storms, and it's crazy because we're not our infrastructure's not really built for that
Mm.
here, and so we just shut down. The city just like shuts down when the ice comes, and so
That's it.
seriously, the
Okay.
schools have been closed. Like I couldn't go to the gym. Like I was locked in my house from like I think my last day out was Friday. So from Saturday
Yes.
until yesterday, which was Wednesday, I had not even
Okay.
left my house because of ice. So we're getting back to normal now, which is good, but I'm still cold.
Yes. It's still cold.
So
Yes.
yes, yes. So well, anyway, so good to have you here. I'm so excited to chat with you today. This is going to be fun.
Yes, it will be. I'm confident.
Yep, absolutely. Okay. So I want to start this off. First thing I'm going to ask you, I want you to tell us a little bit about your journey, how you got into what you're doing, leadership and global project management. Walk us through how this came about for you.
So I started my career as an engineer, as you know,
Yep.
working in steel industry. Then I moved to project management, actually, being a consultant in transportation. Then an opportunity to become a project manager in vaccines development for GSK. And this is where really my passion exploded in two main directions, project management and people management. So I'm passionate about people, career management, talking about goals, ambition, success,
Yeah.
resilience, and all of this.
I think it's very interesting too, because, it's so funny, like, like we talked about, my husband's a chemical engineer. I've been married for a very long time. And it's so funny because you always have sort of this stereotype of like engineer type personalities, right? But I
Yes.
find that it's so interesting when you get to talk to them and you get to really like meet them. You find out there's more depth than just that engineering. Like there are some creative things that sort of come out, into their brain. They're
Yes.
just so very used to using that one part of their brain that's very logic and practical. And then, like my husband, like when I met him, loved to write. Like he loves to write
Mhm.
things. And I always tell him all the time, I'm like, you need to do that, more of that, like because there's so much, I think, greatness, and you as a leader, you evolve and strengthen so many skills when you can tap into that other
Was.
side of your brain. And that's where a lot of I think the people stuff comes from, right? Is really
Yes.
merging into
Yes.
that other side of your brain. So good for you. I love that you're in that space where you're like, oh, I'm loving the people.
Yes. Yes. As an engineer, I'm not only disciplined. Let's put it
Gotcha.
this way.
Yes. No, I think that's great. And I have lots of engineer friends that are, that are I have a friend I'm thinking about right now. I've actually interviewed him on this show that started out
Mhm.
as an engineer and has really moved into like more of the coaching space. And
Yes.
and it's so funny. I laugh. I'm like, you're not like an engineer because like you're a
No.
people person. He's a total people person, which is so that's what I'm saying. They're
Yes.
not all engineers are not we can't say they're not people. You know what I mean?
No.
They
No.
like they
We,
like
we are
to
curious. I think that might be the first thing that we could say about engineers. And that might be the reason why, when we are interested in people, we learn and grow a lot in people because we like to ask, we like to read, we like to be challenged on our ideas. And that is actually what is happening to me. I'm almost every day reading articles, checking posts on LinkedIn, thinking, reflecting. I love this, actually. I love it.
I was gonna say, and if you're a deep thinker, because I am, you probably know because you follow me on social media, and all of my
Yes.
work is like I had
Yes.
somebody tell me the other day, they're like, we were talking about social media, and he says, your work is deep. It's like hard to like go viral on deep. But listen, you know what, Patrick? My brain does not understand shallow. Like I can't have a
Mhm.
shallow conversation. Like everything I do, I think very deeply about. And
Yes.
like, it's like I study people, I study things,
Yes.
I study why things happen. Like I am all the way from the time I'm in my 50s now, but all the way from the time I was a child, I have always wanted to understand things. And
Curiosity.
like I will, yes, yes. And if something doesn't work, I want to know why. Like I don't
Yes.
like don't tell me it doesn't work. I want to know why it doesn't work, and we're gonna figure out how to make it work, unless you know
Investigators.
yes, and you know the definition of science, right? Science is proving
Yes.
things don't work, right? So until
Yes.
you tell me 100% something can't be done,
You won't
I
stop.
want to know, you know, it's
Yes.
It's that
Yes.
curiosity. So I love that you're saying that because I think we all as humans, whether you're an engineer or not, all of us should be
Yes.
curious, right? We all should be
Yes.
wanting to learn and be curious and asking questions.
It's about learning, discovering, learning about the others, but of course, learning about ourselves.
Absolutely. I agree. I agree. Okay. So I'm going to get, now that we got on that little soapbox, thank you for saying all that and letting me get all that out. But we're going to get on these questions I want to ask you here. So, okay. So you have led major initiatives in vaccine and
Yes.
biotech programs for companies, like big ones like we know of Johnson and Johnson. I would like to know, like, what does a day in the life look like at that level for you?
A day full of surprises.
I love
M-
it.
m-
Tell me. Yes, this is the kind of stuff
mainly,
we want to talk about.
yes, mainly bad surprises, meaning problems. So it's not even that I like to solve problems. I need to like problems.
I like
That's
it.
even further,
Yeah.
because it's about helping the others, contributing to the others, making progress, solving problems, and see them happy because they found a solution. I'm so
Yeah.
passionate about discussing problems with the others and trying to find a solution all together, not me alone, of course, and learning also what is the thought process of the people around me. Because then at the end, as I said, I'm interested in people. So I discover how they are thinking so that next
Mhm.
time they come with a problem, we can say, okay, remember last time. And then we connect further and we keep on working together. And that's the beauty
Yeah.
of the things because at the end of the day, I want new leaders to come to rise more and more. And that's my real job, actually. Not solving problems, just contributing to the growth of the others. That's my passion, actually.
I love it. I love it. Well, and I had a mentor for a while there. I feel like I've had mentors for many years off and on, but I had one for
Mm-hmm.
that I worked with for about 2 years. And he used to talk about, the difference between like complex and complicated problems. And you're going to
Mm-hmm.
totally love this because, complicated problem is like you build an airplane. That's a complicated problem. You put it together, but there's a beginning and an end, right? Then you
Yes.
have complex problems, which are human problems. That's what we're dealing on the
Yes.
day in, day out, because there isn't really a solution, right? It's more about
No.
coming to understanding and working with people to create that win-win dynamic, right? Like, how do we move
Yes.
something forward so that everybody walks away feeling like they've had some either contribution or some validation or some way to have a contributing, impact in what they're doing. And so I love it because
Yes.
I always think of that. Ever since I've worked with him, I've always thought about this, that how we try to solve complex human problems with complicated solutions. Meaning we look
Yes.
at somebody and they go, "Oh, I've got this problem." We go, "Oh, well, here's the answer." Well, no, it's not that easy. It's not that simple,
No.
right? It's
No.
really about us having a dialogue and working through
Yes.
something, right? Because people want to be heard, not solved. They want to be
Exactly.
heard. And so our job is to try to understand where they're coming from and
Yes.
offer feedback where necessary, but put them in a position where they can take some initiative and feel confident in
Yes.
their decisions, choices, all the things that they do.
Yes. It's about listening. And I love to listen to people because then again, you understand how they are thinking and why. Then you can ask some questions. Sometimes it's leading or guiding questions. And from time to time, it can be also fully open so that they have space also to phrase, to walk us through their thoughts. So that's what it is. And then it's about empowering them because that's what I love actually. And I sometimes say, maybe you should ignore me. They're sometimes a bit surprised. So why? I say, yes, you should ignore me because at the end, you might have much more expertise than me. So I'm just giving you one way to do it. You have another way, maybe it's good. So sometimes you need to ignore me. Most of the time they are shocked.
Yeah, no,
Let
that's
me,
good.
yes.
I like that too. And I think it opens the door for saying, "Hey, I may not have all the answers, but here's a perspective," right? Like I'm
Yes.
not the all knowing everything, but I'm offering a perspective, right? I think that's great. And
Yes.
and I love that you said that because I do think, so often when we put it back into their court, right? Like put it back into their hands, they now take ownership of it and they can
Yes.
decide for themselves, and it's their total responsibility. That's the empowerment, right? Like that's the
Yes.
empowering them to make the choice and stuff. I love that. So I think it's great too that you said listening, because I do think one of the things early on that I had to really work on, I was always good at like having maybe the empathy, but having to really get get the questions. And so I will tell
Yes.
you this, Patrick, one of the things that's been really helpful for me, because I led teams too, but I did it in a different capacity. And I
Mhm.
don't know that I was always a really good leader. I was good at setting an example on how to have work ethic and how to
Yes.
work hard and go after things. But I had to get good at being a leader of the team to move the people. And I will tell you, a lot of that came from doing these dialogues in podcasting. I've
Oh, okay,
learned a
that helps.
lot. Yeah, I've learned a lot because it forced me to have to get curious about people, ask questions, not just
Mhm.
sit there and go, okay, let's talk about me. No, let's ask the questions. And so consequently, because I've done it so much in this capacity, it's allowed me to take
Mm.
that outside of this. And now I
Yes.
naturally, like, I'm okay, tell me, what do you do? Why do you do what you do? Like, what brought you to that?
Mhm.
So I'll meet people out when I'm
Ah,
out,
okay.
not ask
Out.
100 questions. I'll be like, so what do you do? What got you into that? What do you like about it? What do you not like about it? You know what I mean?
Yes.
So I
Yeah.
think the questions are important.
So that connects to me to my own definition of leadership is someone you want to follow. That
Yeah.
is as simple as that. And while doing what you are doing, meaning creating safe space, people will follow, people will open to you, people will tell you thousands of things they may not tell to other people just
Right.
because they feel you are interested. You are smiling, you are,
Yeah.
oh, yeah, okay, what's happening? What's happening? That is what, so they feel that you are interested. And when
Yeah.
people are interested genuinely, it's easier. Things are fluid.
Hmm.
Sharing your information is fluid. And that's the thing in corporate world. When you are leading people, 100, 200, 300 people and beyond, if you are genuinely interested in them, making rapport, sharing things, again, listening without saying, you should do this. So what do you think? I'm not sure. What's your opinion? I would like to be challenged here because I may be missing something. You create this safe space. And then people talk, open up, and even surprise you
Yeah.
positively.
Right. Yeah, and it's really hard to have your point of view if you're not open to listening to them, right? Like
Yes.
it's hard to share your perspective if you're not willing to listen to them. And Patrick, you know what? And this is so true even in not outside of work, just in personal
Mhm.
relationships as well,
Yes.
right? Like it's hard to if you think that way your children, if you want to have a point of view, right? Like be like, I'm telling you to do this, they're gonna probably be more inclined
Yes.
to listen if you create a safe space for them to also voice their
Yes.
opinions and concerns and all of those things. So I think these skills are really good across all our relationships that we encounter, day in and day out.
So speaking of kids, I sometimes feel I have the opposite problem with them because I sometimes tell them that, are you ignoring me?
Yeah.
Maybe it's lessons learned for me. Being
Yeah.
so
No,
much in
no, I
creating
think
a
I
safe
think they do it
space,
for all of
they
us.
don't care. They
I
just
don't
don't
know
care.
how old yours are. Mine are all adults now. They're
Ah,
like between the ages of 29 and 21. And
yes.
so, you go through the different stages. And I feel
Yes.
like there's that stage between like 18 and like 23 that's kind of just to where they're
Yes.
like sort of cross between we think we're adults, but we're not really
Mm-hmm.
adults yet. And mom and dad are just like not cool right now. You
They
know
are
what I
not cool.
mean?
Yes. Yes.
So I think I get ignored a lot. And funny, Patrick, before I want to say this and then we'll get back on this. Just today, I saw somebody put a post up today about here in Dallas about how they were being locked indoors with like little humans in the ice storm. And they're like,
Mhm.
help, I need to get out. Like all I've had is little people. And I was laughing because I remember doing that with my little ones being like confined. Well, now it's the opposite. They
Yes.
just ignore me. Like I call, they don't,
Yes.
I text and they don't respond. And
They
I'm
don't
like,
respond.
yeah, and I'm like, "Dude, it's, like, quiet over here, like, now I need to get out because it's too quiet at all, like, I don't have
Yes.
anybody in here."
Yes. Nobody's talking to you.
So it
Yes.
goes both ways, right? Like, it goes both ways, so I love it. Okay, so as someone who has mentored, 60 plus women, leaders,
Yes.
what I wanna know is how do you approach helping people grow their influence without losing their authenticity? Like, what is your how do you feel like you put that through to them so that they can keep their authenticity intact and lead?
So I take the time to know them, asking question, but asking question just to know them, not as a checklist. I want to
Yeah.
understand what is their ambition and why. What's their purpose? Because the first question I always ask is your next chapter, is it for you, your parents, your husband, your wife? For who? Is it
Yeah.
for you? Really? Because a bit more than 25 years ago, my father was an MD, had a backup replacement, during 2 or 3 weeks because he was
Okay.
sick. And
Yeah.
this doctor, at the end of these 3 weeks, he gave me the keys of the practice of my father. He said, yes, I'm happy I'm done with these 3 weeks, but this is not initially the job I wanted to do. Come on, you're an MD.
Right.
What do you mean by that? Yeah, I did
Yeah.
not want to do it. It was my father. It was a shock to me. So now, today, when I'm coaching, mentoring people, I say, is it really for you? For who? What does it mean to be successful? That's the first
Right.
question. And then,
Love it.
indeed, especially for women, is adapting their styles, but still being authentic and being themselves, meaning not being hustling and loud in the meeting room and etc., but adapting with who they are, because there's no need to change so much and not being authentic. It's just being more, strategic on when to speak up, when maybe to rephrase, when to summarize, when to take actions, because you don't need to be loud the full week. I
Right.
attended a congress in Miami in September last year
Okay.
for
Yeah.
women leaders. It was about
Yes.
strategic visibility. And I gave the example of Chanel number 5.
Ah,
Do
yeah.
you see the advertising every day?
No, no, but
But
it's quiet. Yeah, yeah.
if
Yeah.
I say number 5 in a class of women, they will think about Chanel.
Mm-hmm.
They don't need to do Chanel number 5 every day. No, no. That's the lasting presence. That's what I explained in my presentation. You don't need to be loud. You don't need to be 24/7. But remember, I'm sure a lot of us can say one or two famous actress who was for Chanel number 5.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So
It's
that's the
so
power.
Yeah, no, and it's so good that you say this. I had a lady, maybe you caught that episode. She was on a few weeks ago. Kay,
Mhm.
I'm drawing a blank on her last name. I don't know why it's late in the day, so my brain's kind of silly, but she was talking about biases in the workplace. And one of the things she brought up was this conversation about you don't have to be forceful or aggressive or
No.
loud to get, if you're in her particular story, she was talking about how she helps women that go into
Mhm.
these high stake environments where it's all men in the room, and how do you speak
Yes.
up and carry your voice and not be intimidated. And she said, we were talking about that, how you don't have to be aggressive. She would say, she gave the example that if she was in a room and let's say a woman was saying something and then a guy brought up the idea and she said, no, let her finish. Let her finish what she has to say and then we'll get. So the point was, to
Yes.
your point, it's a little bit different what you're saying, but it's still on that note of you don't have to be loud to carry authority, right? Like you don't
Yes.
you can have authority without all of that. And
Yes.
and that's something even myself I had to learn going through this. It's funny how when you grow as a leader, you do start picking up on those things and things that I used to would do, in the
Yes.
beginning. Now I'm like, I don't
Yep.
feel the need to have to do that. You know what I mean? Like I
Yes.
don't, I feel that way even with my podcast now because, we've been doing this show now for 7 years and I don't like to
Hmm.
say, obviously there's a lot of great shows out there, but I've worked this podcast to a level where now I have my systems in place. I know what I want. I
Yes.
know what I don't want to deal with. And if somebody starts giving me a hard time, I'm like, no, we're done. I'm not doing it. No,
Yes. Yes.
you know?
And that is the kind of transformation I try to reach, especially when I have women with kids. They are
Yeah.
sometimes doubting, will I be able, etc. I said, how many kids do you have? 2. So after one, are you telling me that you don't know how to raise a child and that you decided to not have a second? Then cricket. And then it's over. Then people understand, yes, indeed. So what?
Yes. Yep.
So, is connecting with day-to-day examples. And
Yes.
of course, that's the same for women who would not have kids at that moment. They buy a house, okay? They have to pay every month. After 1 month, 2 months, they don't know. Maybe we cannot afford. Maybe it will be complicated to pay. Okay. But after 1 year, you pay the house. So you can pay the house. That's it.
Right.
But here, in a new job, after 1 year, I don't know imposter syndrome. Do you have imposter syndrome when you have to pay your house every month?
Right.
No. So what's different?
Yeah.
Again, cricket.
Yes. Yes. We overcomplicate things, I think, often. I that's one of the things I will tell you in all the years, because I was in Mary Kay. I was in leadership for 22 years with
Yes.
Mary Kay, and I worked with women pretty much day in, day
Yes.
out. And that is one of the biggest things is with them is that it's that self-worth thing. It's overcoming
Yes.
that, and it turns into imposter syndrome, all these other saboteurs, right? And just how to, it's so funny because some of the things I just laugh at now, because I think how I used to work so hard about things. And now I'm just like, I don't
Yes.
know, podcasting, I'm telling you, like I've been doing this for 7 years. It changes you. It just makes you a different person, because
Agree.
the
I
things that,
agree.
yeah, the things that used to scare me that I would worry about, like what are people
Yes.
now, I'm like, if I was doing Mary Kay now, I would knock it out of the park. Like I'd probably be so dang good.
Yes.
Why are you not joining my team? We're gonna have the
Yes.
greatest time and make money. Why are you not joining now? You know? So
Yes. So I have a funny story for you about
sure.
imposter syndrome.
Yes.
Yeah, a story that happened to my mother actually. She was going back to school. She was 40 years old. Decided to become a nurse. That's a big story.
Yep.
She was in a practice kind of internship at the end of her studies, and somebody in the room said, "Is this what will take care of me?" Oh my gosh, we are really not well embarked. My mother told me this story, and then we discussed together, and we said that don't worry about imposter syndrome.
Yep.
Somebody is already taking care of it for you.
Mm. Yeah.
So what's the point putting so much energy?
Right.
Your
Right.
neighbor will think about you about being an imposter, so it's okay.
Yep.
It's already managed by somebody, not
That's
you.
good. That's good. Yeah, thank you for sharing that. That's good. We'll have to make sure we note that in here. Come back to this
Yes.
point right here. That's a good story. I think, in stories, people remember things like that when you tell them,
Yes.
stories and give them, because sometimes we get so hung up on something. And sometimes if we just pull ourselves out of it and look up and,
Yes.
over the top of it, and we can relate it to something else. It's kind of like, I'll give you an example. It has nothing to do with that, but
Yes.
it's a saboteur. Talk about exercise, because I'm a former marathon runner and I was an aerobics
Mhm.
instructor for many years. So exercise has been a big part of my life for
Yes.
many, many years. And, when I first started coaching, a lot of times people would come to me, health is kind of my passion, really. So people would
Mhm.
sort of lean into coming to me in that angle, right?
Yes.
And one of the things that would always come up is this whole idea about exercise. And I think so much of that is like we overcomplicate it, like, right? We don't want to do it because we didn't grow up doing it. And
Mhm.
so, to your point, what kind of like what you were talking about, I had to when I would work with clients, kind of reframe that and say, you're putting all this energy into something that you don't want to do. So why don't you find an activity that you really enjoy doing? Go take a
Yes.
ballroom dancing class, or go bowling, or go join
Yes.
a softball league, or I don't know, maybe you decide to go to the roller skating rink. I would do that.
Yes.
Sounds fun. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? But find
Yes.
something you enjoy doing and reframe that. And you might just find that in the process of
Yes.
that, the gym's not such a bad idea anymore. You know what I mean? But we put
Yes.
so much,
I
we,
agree.
yes, so much energy on those things that we fear or that we think are hard or uncomfortable, that we almost, that's why I think we talk ourselves out of everything.
Yes, it's like career management. It
Yeah.
should be fun. Why so much pressure? Please
Yeah,
enjoy. Come on. You are spending
exactly.
so many hours per day to work. You should enjoy.
I agree.
So remove the pressure, the perception of the others, and etc. This is your own career. That's it. So you are in charge.
That's right. Good stuff. All right. Okay. So You wrote Quiet Ambition about achieving success without ego or burnout. And so I would love, I feel like if we were to sum up everything you said, we could make a sentence about this, but I want to hear you actually say this. How do you define success for yourself?
Success for myself. Let's say it's something you are proud of, and you don't need the validation of the others.
Ooh, that's good. Yeah. You're grounded in it.
Yes. And
Right.
that's the key. And that's why my first chapter in my book is about explore yourself.
Yeah.
What does it mean to be ambitious for you? Some people, it's more money. For others, it's a title. Others, it's traveling. Others, it's freedom. Whatever. It's just you.
Yeah. Well, and don't you agree that that evolves? Like it can change over times. For instance, like I had a girl on the show a few weeks ago, Senya, and she talked about in the beginning. I asked her that same question, and she said, you know, in the beginning, she was a digital nomad. She's a tech background's tech. She built a tech
Yes.
company, got it profitable. It's been profitable for 15 years. Living in France, she went to Bali. She's traveled like all these
Okay.
different places, lived this life. She said in the beginning, success for her was about freedom. She wanted to be a digital nomad. She wanted to travel, went to
Okay.
Bali, got to do retreats, do all these fun things.
Yes.
And then she said it evolved. And I assume that it evolved because she got married, had kids, life changed. And of course, our
Yes.
priorities changed, right? And so she talked about that. And I've said even the same thing in my life, you know, because as an achiever in the beginning, my life was really about freedom and autonomy.
Yes.
That has never changed. I will tell you, freedom and autonomy has never changed. But here's what I will tell you. In the beginning, for me, it was about success. It was about check, 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 check,
Yes.
check, check. Now, you know what? It's different.
Yes.
Now it's about doing things that I enjoy doing and also that add value to me and others, but also not compromising my health, because my health is extremely important,
Yes.
because I know what it is like to not have it. And so I think, you know, I love that you're saying this part where we basically get in alignment with what's important to you, right?
Yes.
And I think the exploring yourself, but also being open to it could change. It could evolve over
Yes.
time, and
Same for me. It evolved. Yes. Beginning, it was, ego, performance, achievement, title, and all of those things. And actually, it evolved. But it evolved even if foundations are there. Success, title, and all of those things, master degree, pharma industry, director plus, etc.
Right.
Yes. But at certain
You've got all
moment,
the
I
cool
said,
titles.
yes, yes, but I was looking for this director title, yes. But once I got it, I said, okay, now second part, let's really enjoy and being relaxed. And I would even say I'm much more successful now. Now
Right.
that I am relaxed.
Yes, your priorities are. That's what I tell people. It's funny
Yes.
because we know that saying, they say money doesn't buy happiness, right? You know,
Mhm.
and I think you can't. You know, you don't want. I don't want to sit here and tell everybody like quit your job and go pursue the thing that's
Yes,
going to be happy, right? You do the
of
happy
course.
thing
Yes.
on the side. You do the happy thing on the
Yes.
side, and if at some point that happy thing turns into a way to make money and you can somehow replace your income,
Yes.
then you do that. But here's the thing: I firmly believe that the happiness, you know, really comes from you pursuing those things that add value to your life, right? Like they add value. And there is no price tag on that. There is not a monetary thing that goes to
No.
that thing. I really
No.
think that's where we find the fulfillment in life, is when we get to, like, I love having these conversations. For me, like
Yes.
I tell people, the podcasting for me, like I like to network. I like to learn about
Mhm.
people and study them. And so for me, this is the stuff that adds value to my life. And you know, I always think about, like, you know, there's those moments where I sometimes go, okay, I think I'm done. I'm just going to put it down. And I'm like, oh, hell no. Because I
No.
know that if I put that down, I'm not going to be a happy person. And we don't want to be
Yes.
around Jennifer when
No.
she ain't happy, you
But
know?
that's fueling you, and that's really the yes, that's the thing. That's unique. That's just you.
Yeah.
And that's what
Yeah.
people forget. They need or feel that they should be successful, and perception by the others that they are happy and etc. They should not care about the
Exactly.
others, but it's about freedom again. And
Yeah.
freedom of being yourself. That's a big thing. Then it might be
Yeah.
philosophical, but I'm convinced.
Yeah. I love it. I love it. Well, and I think it's good. I mean, you know, I've met so many people on here who have done incredible amazing, impactful work, and they all
Yes.
sort of say, I can tell, let me just say this. I can tell when I ask this question, the people that are like, they're like, okay, I found that spot, where I feel content in who I am and I'm doing something because I
Yes.
really enjoyed. I had another guy on here a few weeks back that was in the engineering space too, oil and gas industry, and he retired at 49, did really well, retired at 49, and then really neat guy, introvert. He did a TEDx talk, and he came on, and his whole thing was, like, I got to 49 and I retired, and it's like, what do I do now? Like, what do I do with myself, right? So he
Yes.
had to reinvent himself, and he became a coach. And it was funny because he said he started out one way, and he said, it's crazy because now I feel like I'm like working with these women that are sort of in transition and,
Yes.
and stuff. And so I just think it's neat when you hear these stories about people that have done these really amazing, impactful things in what we call
Yes.
success in the world. And they sort of reinvent themselves in a way that now they find this new, I don't know, what do you say, like lease on life, like this new
Yes.
zest or something,
Yes. And it's also being able to say, this is enough. I'm not looking for more money, more title, or I don't know. It's being able to say, this is enough. Let's do something different. Let's enjoy more. Let's get rid of all of those pressure on I don't know what that we
Yeah.
put on ourselves.
Yeah, it's good. I love it. Good stuff. All right. So leading global teams in high stakes environment. We talked about some of this already with
Yes.
comes with pressure and obviously unexpected
Yes.
challenges. You mentioned that very early on. What are some of the most, and you may have already kind of stated this, but I just kind of want to restate it again. So what are some of the important lessons you've learned about leadership under these high pressure type things?
Yes.
You mentioned some of it in the beginning, but I want to kind of come back around on
Mhm.
it again.
So one of the myths of on leadership is that we are supposed to know everything.
Ugh,
Actually, no. I
right.
cannot say we don't know so much, but we don't know so much.
Wisdom. It's wisdom, I think, right?
Yes, is
Yep.
having the courage to listen to the others and
Yeah.
also make decisions with incomplete data. Yes, dealing with uncertainty. Yes, that's a challenge, but we ask for
Yeah.
help. You know, the biggest games on TV, you can always call a friend. So why not
Right.
in your day to day when you're working? So
Yeah.
that's one of the thing, and then it's indeed dealing with the pressure. But some others have gone through this pressure, and that's why you may have coaches, mentors, colleagues who had the same, and several generations or so, because people at 30 years old or 60 years old may deal with the same problem differently. So it's good to have
Yeah.
both, actually, and
I
being
love it.
humble.
Yeah.
I should not talk enough about humility, being able to just listen to the others because they may have the solutions, and not you, by the way.
Yeah. No, this is good. And the reason you saw me looking down when you were talking is because I wrote down decisions with incomplete data because all of that stuff, I agree with
Yes.
everything you said, but this is a good point
Yes.
that we don't talk about a lot. In fact, I hadn't heard this even a while, and we know this. We just understand this, right?
Yeah.
This is so important because I think oftentimes we think that as a leader, you do. You have to make decisions. You have,
Yes.
and this is a funny question because my husband asked me this one time. You're going to laugh about this. He asked me this one time. He says, I was trying to decide on something. He said, how are you so sure about the decision on that? And I said, you're not. You're not
Mhm.
ever sure. You're never 100% certain on anything you do. You just have to make a decision. Sometimes you just
Yes.
have to make and I think that's what a part of being a leader is. Yes, you have to just sometimes make a decision based on the information you have. But here's the
Yes.
thing, Patrick. Here's the thing. As a leader, you also probably recognize that you will take the fall and the rise. So if it doesn't go well, you will take ownership that you made the decision.
Yes.
You will also take ownership if it does, but you will say, I made the decision either way. And the point is,
Yes.
it doesn't mean you don't give recognition to your team, but the point is, as the leader, you say, if it doesn't work, I am responsible that it did not work.
Yes.
And that's what I have always said, even about like when I go to make decisions, they're not always right. I just made a decision just recently about some work I had done, and I didn't like
Mhm.
how it turned out. It made me mad. And you know what? I ended it. I said, we ain't doing that again. I'm done. We ain't doing this anymore. We're done. But you
Yes.
know what? I don't beat myself up about it because I said it was a
No.
stupid decision. I made it. I learned I ain't doing it again. You know,
Yes.
we're going to do that as leaders. We're going to make decisions with incomplete data. And sometimes it's going to be wrong and sometimes it's going to be right. And that's okay. You know, that is
Yes.
okay at
And
the end of the
yes.
day.
Because
So,
we are learning. And I would say the younger generation or people who are lower in the rank and aspiring to be leaders, they may believe that actually when you are making decisions, like you are saying, we are so sure we are mastering
no,
all of those data. No,
no,
actually, no. No,
nope.
our added value is to make a decision when we don't have all the data.
Yeah.
That's our
Yeah.
added value.
Yeah.
Otherwise, anybody can take decisions.
No, I agree. And I think what happens too is the more risk we take, like the more decisions anybody, this
Yes.
goes for anybody listening,
Yes.
the more decisions you make, the better you get at making decisions. It doesn't mean you don't ever
Yes.
question yourself because I question myself I'm like, is that a good idea to do that?
Of
You're like,
course.
but I will
Yes.
tell
Yes.
you, I get through that decision quicker. I'm not going to spend, if it's a big decision, I might take a couple days to think about it, but most decisions we can make fairly quickly, right? And so
The
I
same
look
for
at it,
me.
yeah, and I'll go through it and I'm like, maybe this is one I need to, I will tell you when I stepped down from Mary Kay after being in all those years,
Yes.
that one did take me 6 months to do because it was a big career shift. And
Yes.
but you know what, Patrick, the day that I woke up and made the decision, I woke up and I had clarity. The day that I woke
Okay.
up, I had, because it wasn't something that I had to make. I didn't have to make an immediate decision.
Yes.
It was like either I'm going to stay in or I'm going to stay out and I'm just going to sit
Yes.
and wait till I decide. And one day I got up, I woke up and I said, okay, today's the day I'm done. You know,
Yes.
but I
So
think this
simple.
is good. I love all
Mhm.
this that you said here. And I also like that. I'm going to say that I like that you mentioned the humility because I think when
Yes.
you become grounded in who you are and you're doing things because you want to do them, that allows you to
Yes.
have the humility to be okay with
Yes.
somebody if you're not don't have all the answers, you're okay with it. It's not anything to do with your worth and as who you are.
Yes. Yes. Yeah, self-esteem and self-confidence. That's also two big parts of personalities. And from what I have seen in my practice of coaching, mentoring, people are a bit misled. They are not so sure about is it really self-esteem or self-confidence.
As
I personally believe most of the
yes.
time it's self-esteem.
Yeah, they are two different things. There's
Yes.
a really good book. Jamie Kern Lima talks about this in her very first chapter, the difference between confidence and self-worth. And I never thought
Yes.
about it in all the years that I was in Mary
Yes.
Kay. I never thought about those as being two distinct.
Too
You can
distinct.
have a lot of self-confidence, but not have self-worth. Two different
Yes.
things, right? Like you could be
Yes.
really good at your work, but not value yourself,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
And that was something I had to learn. And oh my gosh, when you figure out those two things, like I really feel like when you figure out that the nuanced differences between those two, and there was a guy that came on the show, Ryan Gottfriedson. He's a
Yes.
psychologist professor at Cal State. And he
Okay.
talked about the being versus the doing because we spend most of our lives in the doing state
Doing.
when we need to be working on the being because the being
Yes.
goes with us everywhere we go.
Yes. Yes.
When you think about it in that kind of terms, it puts a kind of a scientific way to it. Oh,
Mhm.
what are
That's so
being, what are,
powerful.
yes, what are the things that
Yes.
could be being things that are going to add value to us, our self-worth,
Yes.
help us like ourselves? Because when we fix all of that, it allows the humility, all of those
Yes.
things that you're talking about in leadership.
The rest will follow. Yes.
Exactly. Good stuff. We're having like all these light bulb moments here. This is so good. It's so good.
Okay.
I love these conversations when we have these kind of with these leadership.
Yes.
I'm like, oh my gosh, somebody gets it. Like we're having those same things. It's great. All right. So from your experience, what we haven't kind of touched on this yet. What do you feel like separates the difference between that self-worth and confidence thing? Effective leaders from those who struggle, especially like in high stake type
High
organizations.
stakes. So the one who struggles are the ones who try to make the best decision
Mm,
and to please people around them to be sure that nobody will be frustrated. So, more accommodating, taking the
yeah.
best of everybody in the room. The one who are effective will make decisions after having explained the background, the thinking process, why they are making decisions, and that these people are taking full responsibility. That is the best way to be effective at the end. And they will be respected because the people will understand why those decisions have been taken. They will follow this leader.
Yeah. They might not like it at first, but eventually they'll follow along because you
Yes.
communicated with them. You were clear and you communicated. I think that's what it is. We fear the communication, right? So we do the decision. We go, oh, I'm going to make the decision, but we don't communicate the decision. And so now
No.
they're upset because the decision wasn't communicated to them. So it's just like you made the decision and they feel
Yes.
like they had no, like, even though they're not in the decision process, they feel like they're not a part
Yes.
of it because it wasn't communicated. You know what I mean?
Yes, and one additional thing I do in this case is explaining to the people who may disagree and let them speak and actually explain their own thinking process. Because then you can understand, you can break it down
Right.
and find the real reason that is behind their choice or
Yeah.
why they are challenging you. Then you will discover that they may have other interests, they may
Mhm.
missing some elements, or
Yeah.
just about fear of something, of losing I don't know what. And by doing
Right.
this with a coaching approach, you understand better, and then you can address those real questions. Because they are real
Yeah.
questions, but they are a bit hidden.
Yeah. I think what you're saying, if I were to sum all that up, is it's allowing you to put yourself in their shoes. And
Yes.
I think that's how we bridge
Yes.
gaps with people because
Yes.
oftentimes we assume we know how somebody's feeling or thinking. And if we don't ask enough questions to find out, we don't really have enough data
Yes.
to understand. And so, and there's no connection, there's no empathy being crossed here if there's no dialogue happening. And so,
Yes.
I always say this that I've always said this, or I shouldn't say always say this. I say this now all the time. I say everything we need to learn in life comes from a conversation because I truly
Yeah.
believe that if you think about it, every day you talk to somebody, whether it's an explicit or implicit, you're learning
Yes.
because they may be
Yeah.
telling you something directly or you're picking up on something in
Yes.
the background that you don't even know you're aware of. And so I firmly believe that the more dialogues we have, the more wisdom we gain in life from, and because
Yes.
you can't talk to people all the time and not unless you just never ask a question. I even then I still believe if you never even asked a question, I still believe if you sat and listened to people talk, you still learn. But to me, you cannot engage in conversation with somebody, Patrick, every single day of your life and never gain some type of wisdom or knowledge. I mean, there would have to be like
Yes.
your brain would have to be just totally shut off. Like, you know what I mean?
Yes.
Because you will learn a lot just from those
Yes.
conversations that you have day in and day out.
That's why listening is so powerful.
Mhm.
That's my top quality or skills. And it's funny because when you look at the job description, you never see listening.
Right. And that's your title. You need best listener.
I'm a listener, and people are
Yes.
surprised. What a
Yes.
special power. I'm a listener, and then people are surprised. Yes,
Yeah.
I hear what you say, and I hear what you don't say.
Right. That's so good. And it is a great skill. I will tell you my coaching certification, one of the things we had to learn was
Yes.
active listening. We had to go through the
Yes.
process of really learning to listen. So an admirable quality. Definitely an admirable
Yes.
quality.
And
So
it's so powerful.
yeah. And good on you, because I think it's awesome. You definitely, and that's what I'm saying. You have been in a place where you've had to work with so many people that
Yes.
you had to learn to do that. And that's why I'm saying to my point, you sit in a room with
Yeah.
enough people over a
Yes.
period of time, you learn, though you develop those skills and you have definitely learned how to pick up, get into that
Yes.
mindset where I need to listen to
Yes.
learn to know what my people need. So good for you.
Thank
It's
you.
awesome. All right. So for someone aspiring to grow their leadership presence or influence, I have a feeling I know what you're even going to say. So we may not even need to ask, but I want to hear you say this. What is one actionable piece of advice you would say to them right now?
If you're an aspiring leader, be surrounded with the right people who will support you, mentors, network, whatever. They will make the difference because they will support you, they will encourage you, they will give you the right feedback. So I'm a pure product of mentors and coaches and all of those supporting people. I did not do it by myself.
Yeah, I am too. I believe in the power of it. It's so important, the people that you put
Yes.
into your space. It can make or break your entire it's conversations
Yes.
that I've even had with my children, over the years. It's like, be
Yes.
careful about the company you keep, because it's not that you want to alienate people, but if you want to, like, you will never exceed the people you hang around. Like, you're going to always stay
Ye-
in the room that you're in. You're going to have to
Yes.
level up and go into a room that is higher than you to get to the level. And so I have
Yes.
always been in spaces with people, I shouldn't say always, but in the latter parts
Yeah.
of my years, I've been very mindful about putting myself in rooms with people that I really like. I admire them. I admire the work they
Yes.
do, and I enjoy the conversations with them and stuff, because yeah, it's huge. So good advice, Patrick.
Yes. Regarding this, I watched a 2 or 3 minutes video, scrolling, and something very powerful. I will keep this for a long time, I think, is you are the average of the 5 people you are spending the more time with.
Yeah.
That's crazy, 5. Then I started to make my list.
Right? You're like, well, it's funny, dude. That's why, why they say leadership is lonely, right? Because what happens is you start weeding out a lot. It's crazy. Like, you think about like people that knew like when you were young. Like, I'm still in
Yes.
touch with people I went to school with. Like, and I've known some of
Yes.
these since we were like 5 and 6 years old. We're still
Oh,
in
yes.
Facebook together, right? And it's
Yes.
something, some of them have grown up and become like successful and are doing cool things. And
Mhm.
some of them are living their lives. They maybe are not quite as, successful, but in their world, they're successful. But it's
Yes.
interesting to me because we all kind of like grew up in the same little brew, and you'll see these
Yeah.
people and you're like, do we all come from the same place? Because we're just in so different
Completely
spaces
different.
now.
Yes.
Right. And
Yeah.
you start realizing that as you move up your circle, it evolves, like, right. And you
It
lose
has
some
to
people
evolve.
and you bring some people in, and some people stick with you for a while and they'll stay with you for a season and then they leave and you get
Yes.
some new people that come into your season, and that's, I think, as a leader, you just have to recognize that's part of that journey, that's the
Yes.
normal. That's the norm as a leader, you know?
Yes. I agree. I agree.
So good stuff. All right. Okay. So here's my last one I want to ask you, and then I'm asking you a couple fun questions. So, what's one mindset shift or habit that has helped you stay calm, focused, and effective, even in I guess, maybe a tough situation? You mentioned
Mhm.
listen, which I think has been really good, but I think you have to, I mean, it may be easier for you now because you've been doing it for so long, but maybe something
Oh.
that you have to do, or a habit that just really keeps you kind of grounded.
So it's about self-worth, self-esteem. Now. Now.
Gotcha.
It has not always been the case, but it's there. Because when I lost my job like 5 years ago, during COVID, some friends and some people who worked with me in the past said, Patrick, maybe you should start your business, build your own company. And I was saying, no, come on, you're exaggerating. It's just because you like me, etc. And then at a certain moment, I said, what if they are right?
Mm,
That's changed everything. I
yeah.
launched my business in 17 days. And actually, I had already my mission at J&J before starting my business. So I had to hurry up to do the
Yeah.
admin to be sure that I could work actually. And I kept my business several years. And then I joined PPD as an employee. But I've been able to make my own business in 17 days. So when I have some pressure and stuff, etc., I say, ah, well, I was able to start my own business in 17 days.
Uh,
What is crazy, by the way,
it is. It
during
is.
lockdown.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, good for you. Hey, and so now it sounds like you're getting to speak, and like you came to the States to speak in
Yes.
Florida. So you're getting to go around and talk about some of I looked at like some of your topics on your website, with, some of the things you're
Yes.
covering and stuff. And I think it's awesome. It's great that you're getting the opportunity to speak on the things that, you bring this corporate side that you've done for
Yes.
many, many years into what you're doing now, which I think is great because it's blending that all together, especially when you're going in and now talking to these entrepreneurs and you're saying, here's
Yeah.
the perspective from this side,
Yes.
and bringing that into this entrepreneur space now.
Yes, that's I mean, I sometimes still don't believe I'm doing this. I'm
Yeah.
surprising myself, really. And this is how it should be, being surprised and being like a child, like wow, did I do this?
Yeah.
We sometimes should put some lightness and smooth in our career and life in general.
I agree. You know what I think one of the fun, I don't know about you, but one of the things I really love about being an entrepreneur is no day is ever the same. Like really,
Yes.
like you don't have, I mean, yes, you get up at the same time, but you never know who you're going to talk to. Like you
Oh,
never know. I mean, you kind of do if you look at your schedule, but it's always different. Just like
yes,
case in
yes,
point,
yes,
2 days ago, I got on the phone with somebody that or on a Zoom where somebody had connected us, and I got on with this lady, and she was talking about how
yes,
she does Play-Doh to help people learn how to play, like the pause and the play, which is like nervous system regulation, which is some of
yes.
the work I do. But she was telling about how she uses Play-Doh. And I'm like, that's so good. I never thought about it because I love Play-Doh. Like I love the smell of
Yes.
Play-Doh.
Uh-huh.
I would be like a kid if you put me on a table with all the colors of Play-Doh. I'm gonna be like so excited. But my point was I sat on this call with her for like an hour and I was like, oh my gosh, we gotta go. We're iced in and stuff. And so I think
Mm,
the beautiful thing about this whole thing is that you just that's the adventure, right? The curiosity, the playing, the
yes.
being childlike is that you have the freedom to have a different experience every single day. And even if you are in corporate and you don't have the freedom of being an entrepreneur, you still, to me, have a choice every day to embrace
Yes.
life
Yes.
from a childlike curiosity mindset, right? Like every day.
Yes. Yes. I mean, it's our personal accountability to create this space and these moments. Again, it's us. Nobody else will do it for us. That's our job.
Oh, I love it. Okay, so now I have some fun questions I want to ask you real
Yes.
quick. I haven't done this in a while, so you're going to be my first one, Patrick. Since
Okay.
I used to do this on my show all the time, and then somehow I got away with it. And we got away from it. We got so serious, but I love it because it just kind of brings the human back to this. So you're gonna like this. So
Okay.
I don't know in Belgium. I don't know what's all theirs, but I want to know: would you say, are you a beach person? You like warm tropics, or you like mountains and the cool?
Oh no, no. I'm even a city guy. The beach is only for kids. I'm sorry. No, 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 no. I need cities. I'm just making a concession 2 weeks per year going to the beach. I'm sorry for
I get
kids.
it. I'm gonna tell you this, like, I like the beach, but
Oh,
here's why. I like the city too, but I like the beach because we live down further south, so my parents had a house close, so in the summer, we could go down there and visit
yes,
down there, my uncle and stuff, and so I think it just kinda brings back old memories, but we're going
yes.
on a cruise at the end of March into
Okay,
April, and we're gonna be going through, like, I think we're going to Grand Cayman, and then we're gonna go to Cozumel
yeah,
again in Honduras. I'm so excited because you know what? I'm gonna be seeing warm water beach. I am so excited because
okay.
I love the beachy stuff. So, okay, here's my next question. Morning beverage. Are you a coffee, tea drinker, or do you got something else you like in the morning?
Oh, coffee, coffee,
Coffee.
cappuccino even.
Gotcha. Do you put so you got the fun stuff going in it?
No, 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 no. Old school.
Old school. Okay, gotcha. I'm a tea drinker, so I do green tea every morning. That's my
Every
coffee,
morning.
my Joe every day. Green
Yes.
tea. So, all right. And if you were doing what you do now, what's something else you might pursue? Something else fun that you would pursue? Something maybe different.
Something different. Teaching at the end. Teaching.
Teaching.
Yes,
Yeah,
teaching.
I can see
I
that.
love so much to transmit knowledge in general, whatever the topic. Yes, teaching. I
Yeah.
love this moment where
I
we share ideas.
Yeah. I think that's what I would say too. I would probably do the same thing. Funny, my sister's a teacher. My oldest daughter is a bilingual teacher. She's the only one in our family that can truly speak Spanish. Nobody in our family is
Yes.
Hispanic, so we don't didn't, but she went to school, taught herself how to speak Spanish and she does it.
Mhm.
But I think like you, because I feel like it's so funny. Someone was asking me the other day, like if I'm coaching as much, and I
Yes.
do more workshops when I do, and I run a
Okay.
networking group here. And in my networking group, I always, every time we go, I always have some kind of teaching thing I do with them so they walk away with something because
Yes.
I feel like I always want to give somebody a tool or something they can use,
Yes.
an idea, and if
Mhm.
they use it, it's totally up to them. They don't have to, but I want to at least say, hey, here's
Yes.
something that worked for me, or maybe try this or
Yes. Sharing.
whatever. So, yeah. Yeah. So I think that's
Yes.
good. I love it. So, well, Patrick, this has been awesome. We've been on here, and I know we could stay on here forever, but you got
Oh,
things to
yes.
do. So, if our audience, maybe somebody listening to this wants to follow you, get in touch with you, maybe they want you to come speak at one of their events,
Yes.
Where do we want to send them?
So they can contact me via LinkedIn. Very simple, Patrick Kamba. Otherwise, they can go on my website, www.patrickkamba.com, where they will see about my book, the topics I can talk about to their organizations.
Awesome. This has been good. And thank you for all this fun conversation. I know, like I said, I think you and I could probably talk for a while and go back and forth on all these topics. And, but I do want to
But
thank
thank
you
you.
for, the wisdom and the knowledge and all the dialogue going back and forth today. It's been awesome.
Thank you very much, Jennifer. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, to our audience, we hope that you found this episode both inspiring and informative. And if you did, you know what to do, all of the things. You want to hit the like, subscribe, share, comment, and that way we can keep sharing all this fabulous content. And as I always say, in order to live the extraordinary, you must start. And every start begins with a decision. You guys take care, be safe, be kind to one another, and we will see you next time.